Okay, it's on.
Okay. Morao sam da kuvam ručak, kuvao sam moljorov gulaš, Hungarian stew that Hungarians have brought from Asia in the 8th century AD. So that was delicious, made of the lamb meat, jagnjećeg mesa, jagnjetine. So that was the reason that I delayed our podcast previously, and we have to wait. Can you see the rumor from the background? The little noise. That's my wife's fan. She just went out of the bathroom and she's turning it off within a minute, maybe. Okay, so what movie did you just say you're watching? You said King Kong.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you would say King Peter because Serbia is about to switch to the kingdom again.
Right.
It's going to be a kingdom because I have some contacts with the Crown Alliance or the Crown Council, sa Krunskim Savetom, who told me that Serbia is going to be a kingdom again, which is very interesting to you, but without Kosovo. Treba da bude mali rat na Kosovo, otprilike 15-16 dana, i kad se završi to, onda će se završiti ove barikade što prave sad i tako. Okay, we're talking about Draza Mihailovic, right?
Upravo tako, that's right.
Pa da, all right.
Moja majka je ovde.
Oh, that's great. Привет, Анна. Здравствуйте, как дела? Как у вас?
Хорошо, с Новым годом!
Добрый вечер.
Новая година.
Добро пожаловала. С Новым годом, конечно, и вам.
С новым счастьем!
Ну, конечно, и вам и тоже. Уже у нас нет Нового года, не приехал уже.
О, ну еще сколько осталось?
Ну, Кирибати, Науру, Япония, Монголия, Российская Федерация, не всех, ну, у них всех, ну да, але у нас уже нет.
Окей, а во сколько? Сейчас у вас будет через где-то 2,5 часа. No, 3.5 hours. About 3 hours 20, 3 hours 18 minutes. Right?
Ну, конечно же. Але, к сожалению, здесь мне не очень лучше слышать вас. Это был фен. Моя жена работает этого.
Где? В Сербии?
Sorry?
Are you in Serbia now?
Ну да, конечно, я вернулся. Я вернулся полмесяца назад. Я был в иностранных странах, ну только же 3 дня, I've been for 3 weeks. So I'm a little bit tired of the travelings, but actually here I am back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle. Peter, I'll be right back. I came up here to look for something, but I'm going to come back, and I wish you again Happy New Year.
No problem. No, конечно же.
Happy New Year! Yay!
Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, приятно пожаловать. Удачи. Sorry?
2023. godine is coming.
2023, baš tako. Okay, I'm very glad that your mother participates in our channel.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, to je odlično.
All right,
anyway.
So we're about to talk about Draza Mihailovic.
Tako je.
Yeah, okay, finally. So, it's very important to say that the word Chetnik hasn't been always in the same usage as it is today. Prvo su Četnici bili u stvari logički nastavak Uskoka i Hajduka. Uskoci su bili mahom delovali u Dalmaciji, a Hajduci su delovali uglavnom po Bosni i Hercegovini, po Srbiji i tako dalje. Tako da su Četnici logički nastavak toga. prvi koji je ikada u zvaničnoj literaturi upotrebio naziv Četnik bio je Matija Ban. Na Kosovu 1905. otprilike oko 405. je upotrebio taj naziv prvi put u literaturi. Po njemu se zove Banovo brdo u Beogradu, molim lepo. I od tada reč Četnik se mahom vezuje za pripadnika royalne, odnosno kraljevske odbrambene garde. Mostly, the word Chetnik is attached, or it attaches to the meaning of, for a member, a limb of the royal bodyguard, assembly, right? It's a Chetnik is a king's personal guard member, a death bodyguard member who's attached to just committed the pledge, the oath to to be loyal, who just swore under loyalty to the king. And Serbia was a kingdom,
Right. It was kingdom in the 1800s, and then during World War I, it was a kingdom, and then after World War I,
exactly. And then the communists, the allegedly known communists, turned to the seized the power and captured it, and came to the governmental position.
Right.
And here they are. So there is nothing to do with it. I just came back here in order to sell my property, sell my house, sell my real estate, and I'm moving my ass back to the places I've been before. So I came here. Thank you. I came here just to spend the New Year's Eve with our daughter, right? Together with my wife and our daughter, and to sell the house to the Russians, because the Serbian peasants mostly don't have the money. Okay, so the thing is that we're going to Draza Mihailovic, and there is a great announcement that I have promised to you personally, and I will be able to finally expel it here and to express it, and I kept it because if I told you, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Right, like you said earlier.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I have to switch the positions.
Okay. Draza je rođen na Ajvanici na 26 april 1893.
Yeah.
So he was born in Ivanica, April 26, 1893.
Exactly.
Ivanica, da li je Ivanica je grad ili sulo? Is it a city? Ivanica is a city or it's a village he was born in, or town?
Ivanica je grad koji se nalazi relativno blizu ovog mesta gdje se ja sada nalazim. It's located in the relative vicinity, not too far from this place where I currently am. So, Draza Mihailovic, koji je među pristalicama poznat kao Čiča. Ti si mi rekao pre neki dan da imam bradu kao Čiča, Draža, ali ja sam je skratio među vremenu, pa više nemam. So I cut my beard, so I don't have the beard resembling Chichas anymore. Because it's way too shorter.
Kretko.
A retka je, da. Ako pogledaš pažljivo na prethodne, na Facebook profile, tamo gdje smo mi s pesnikom Ljubom Bršom u naslovnoj strani, tamo imam veću bradu koja je skoro kao Dražina. Tako je, rođen je u Ivanici 14. ili 26. aprila po novom kalendaru gregorijanskom 1893. a umro je zvanično u Beogradu 17. jula 46. Bio je srpski i jugoslovenski oficir, armijski general i načelnik štaba vrhovne komande jugoslovenske vojske u otadžbini, ministar vojske, mornarice i vazduhoplovstva Kraljevine Jugoslavije u Drugom svetskom ratu. He was a Serbian and former Yugoslav officer, an army general, and the envoy or the military counselor of the section of the superb command of the Yugoslav army in
the fatherland.
In the former fatherland. He was the minister of the army, the military minister, the minister of navy, and the air forces of the kingdom of Yugoslavia, the Yugoslav kingdom, in the World War II. So during the Balkan Wars and in the World War I, he was the officer of the Serbian army, bio oficir srpske vojske. So after the war, he was performing countless and numerous duties all across the newly formed state. And for some time, he served even in the Royal Guard, služio je u Kraljevoj gardi. So he was in the diplomatic service in that time as the military ambassador, a form of ambassador, to se zvala vojni attaché, and attached to the embassy of the Kingdom of Yugoslavia in Sofia, Bulgaria, and in Prague, Czechoslovakia. A sada imam specijalno iznenađenje za tebe. Može?
U redu, da.
Okay. Now I announce a special surprise for you and for our Westerner and Eastern audience, which is going to be bigger and bigger. So, Draza Mihailovic is the father of John Lennon.
Oh, I knew that ahead of time, so.
Sorry?
I knew that ahead of time.
Yeah, you knew that. You knew that.
Da, znam.
Okay.
O tome.
This is great because you knew that before. And I think we owe the explanation, a brief explanation to our audience. When he was in Czechoslovakia in Prague, when he was on a diplomatic mission, he met a woman who became eventually his girlfriend, and she became pregnant in the meanwhile. So she went from Prague, she went back to London town, and then she switched to Liverpool, where she delivered young John, like the rest of the membership of the Beatles were born in the same town, Mecca, Hassa, Jana, and or Lana, and Ringo. In Liverpool, they have this a weird, strange habit just to provide the very special nicknames to their members. Paul McCartney was Mecca, George Harrison was Hassa, John Lennon was Lana, and so on. So Richard Starkey, the drummer, named Ringo Starr, was Ringa. So John Lennon was born in Liverpool, and actually he knew about his real father, who his real father was, but they actually never met each other. And because Draza went to the front later, John was born October 9, 1940. And his father went back to the Balkans, and his main role was to deprive the desert fox Erwin Rommel in Africa from getting supplies. You know, it was meant to cut off the food and the military ammunition supplies to the desert fox. You know, the great general of the Khazars. You know, of the German army, in Sahara Desert. So, and later he collaborated with the Americans and with British, but they both have just betrayed him and left him stay there. So he eventually got caught in that cave. There is a movie made after it, but that's another story for maybe the later podcast. Right. So actually, so you know that Draza was the real father of John Lennon, and there is I just have to briefly make a digression over here and to say to provide the explanation why John Lennon has been murdered. Because he has been murdered because he is not an English. He wasn't an Englishman, right?
Yeah, he was basically kind of a mix of British, Serbian,
and the Czech woman. So his father was a Serb, and his mother was Czech. So he was held Slavic, held Serb, because Serbs are not Slavs at all. Serbs are a mixture of 17 tribes. And there is the least amount of Slavic haplogene in their bloodstreams. But nevertheless, he has been killed by the members of MI6 and MI5. They sent the agent, and actually, you know the story about the scapegoats and the Manchurian candidates. You know that allegedly, the murderer of John Lennon was allegedly Mark David Chapman, who's still serving the life sentence in the prison, U.S. jail. And the Yoko Ono went there, and she eventually and officially, told him, "I forgive you," in front of the public. She knows about the real situation, and genuinely and really, Mark David Chapman has been induced by the MK Ultra program and has been coded according to the book Catcher in the Rye, Lova Cuzitu, which has been written by the guy named Jerome David Salinger, who originally was from Slavonia, from the Jewish family, called Pop Jewish. Jerome David Salinger je poreklo od porodice Jewish, called Pop Jewish, But the real, we know from the service intelligence information that the real murderer, the real killer, John Lennon, was not Mark David Chapman, but instead it was Jose Luis Perdomo, who was the threshold keeper in the Dakota building in New York City, because he has been shot in front of the Dakota building, right? So it was the member of the service, Jose Luis Perdomo, and we wrote about that in our book named A Culture, which is luckily and eventually present on Amazon, and it's selling very well. So that was sorry.
Now Draza's military career began in September 1912. Vojsku Koriju počinje na septembar 2020, no, 12 godina. His military career began in September 1912.
Exactly.
So at
That
the
was
time of the Balkan Wars, the first Balkan War.
Balkan Wars, yeah. So
Yeah.
later on, in the April War of 1941, he gets stuck on the position of the colonel of the operational section of the Second Army of the Yugoslav Military Corps. So he refused to acknowledge, to admit the capitulation, and with the smaller group of officers, lower officers and the mere soldiers, he just hidden himself on the Ravna Gora. He sklonio se na Ravnu Goru.
Headquarters, basically.
Yeah, where he has founded the command of the Chetnik battalions of the Yugoslav army. So later he commenced to collect the officers who escaped, the imprisonment, the incarceration, and in order to establish the organization to fight against the occupier forces, right?
Right, with the Nazis, yeah.
Yeah, with the Nazis. So something we still deal with even today, but in another form, right?
Yes, that's right.
Because it's inherited to the nature of the human animal. Sorry?
Oh, and then there was a bunch of other Chetnik fighters, Kosta Bečanac, and so on. There was a lot of them. There was
Bio je Kosta Pečanac, bio je Nikola Kalabić, koji je nedavno rehabilitovan. Ima film odličan, pravljen u Kalabiću. Poslaću ti link za taj film, to je odličan film, bio je u bioskopu. Ovde Kosta Pečanac, bio je Pop Đujić, pomenuli smo ga, on je kasnije imenovao u Clevelandu za Vidovdan 89. proglasio ga za četničkog vojvodu, odnosno četničkim vojvodom, pa ga je posle skinuo sa repertoara, posle se pokajao zbog tog proglašenja, pa su se posle razišli. A inače, Pop Đujić je napisao i knjigu poezije, vrlo interesantno, vrlo lirske poezije, ljubavne i rodoljubive, tako da kažem, donekle i s duhovnim elementima. Ali posle ćemo govoriti o Popu Đujiću ako hoćeš, a sada moramo prvo da očistimo Dražu. So at the end of the 1941, he just entered into a clash, a conflict with the partisan forces, which were organized by the Communist Party of Yugoslavia.
Tito, yeah.
Tito and the company.
Right.
Tito in France. So trying to, in the attempts to avoid the assaults, the strikes of the German forces, he had one encounter with the representatives of the Wehrmacht. The German military forces in November of the 41, u selu Divci. That was the village of Divci. But eventually they required exclusively the unconditional surrender. Oni su zahtevali bezuslovnu predaju. Predstavnici Wehrmachta, možeš misliti. So which followed was a great German operation named Mihailovic. At the beginning of December of the same year, which should have resulted with his capturing, with his incarceration, right?
Right, that's right.
So in January 1942, and now it's the most exciting momentum, the new president of the Ministry Council of the Yugoslav Kingdom, Slobodan Ivanovic.
In exile, yeah, in
The
London.
guy, yeah, in exile, the guy you're very much attached to and that you're interested in. Čovjek o kome ćemo govoriti u sljedećim podcastima.
Da.
Navodimo ovo ne samo za srpsku publiku, nego za koji hoće. He had announced and named Mihailovic for the minister of the military, navy, and the air forces. I vazduhoplovstva. So he remained on the same duty even in the second government of Slobodan Ivanovic, koji je rehabilitovan nedavno bio, koliko sam obavešten. So has been in the inter-government u međuvladi led by Miloš Trifunovic and the government of Božidar Purić, Crnogorca Božidara Purića. So, or to put it otherworldly, has been there until June of 1944. So near the end of the war.
Right.
So
yeah, before Slobodan Milosevic, no, not Milosevic, sorry. Ivanovic. Dusan Simovic, and he was the first.
Milošević je kasnije, da.
Yeah, he was before.
On nije rehabilitovan. Milošević nije rehabilitovan. On je Mirina žrtva i žrtva CIA. Pričat ćete o Miloševiću kasnije, gomilu stvari.
To je moj greška.
Kako?
To je moj greška, that was my mistake.
Nema veze, pričat ćemo, obradit ćemo i Slobu i Miru kasnije. Biće vremena. Sljedeće godine.
So Dusan Simovic was the prime minister of exile before he was replaced by Slobodan Jovanovic, and then he was. Draza was also.
Nije on taj crnkinja i ta robot. Sorry?
I think Dusan Simovic was the prime minister of Yugoslavia in exile in London before Jovanovic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So they were just, my wife just told you that you're our robot, and I said, yeah, okay, we're gonna buy a robot. He's not the one.
Yeah, ja nisam robot.
I said he's a living man. He's not a robot. But we're going to discuss about robots in the forthcoming sessions.
Oh, very good.
Shall we? We have to. And about no, she's joking.
Hajde da nastavimo naše razgovor od Draza Mihailovic i Chetnici.
Okay.
Dakle.
So during the most part of the war, in his military layer and his military den were located both the Ally, meaning American, and British military missions. So General Mihailovic, altogether with his military forces, has organized the acceptance of over 500 Ally Air Force members who were just
shot down by the Germans.
Shot down above the inimical warfare lines, and during the 44, and then later he just conducted their evacuation process from the improvised airports, and that was the part of the Halyard operation. Are you familiar with the Operation Halyard?
Oh, yeah.
That's Vazdušni most. That's the operation named the air bridge. Die Luftbrücke in Deutsch, die Luftbrücke, which is, the Vazdušni most, na hrvatskom, which was the biggest, the largest rescuing action of the Allied forces behind the inimical lines, the front lines, and during the Second World War, and has been performed in Serbia, nevertheless.
Yeah, not to mention also, Mihailovic also collaborated with the German forces and Nedic, Milan Nedic. Mihailovic sarađavao se Njemcima i Nedić.
Pa da, ali morao je zapravo, u stvari to je pametan šahovski potez, on je znao da mora da se okupi ponekad da razgovara. Imam ja fotografije, recimo razgovori saradnja Ustaša i Četnika, pa Ustaša i Partizani, pa onda ne znam, Partizani i Ustaši, Partizani i Četnici i tako dalje. Tako da svi su sarađivali pomalo, ali to je dobro.
Da.
Okay, there was the rescuing of the Allied. There was the rescuing of the Allied military pilots that has been performed by the side of the aviation of the U.S. In collaboration with the Yugoslav army and the fatherland, and in the exile partly. So after the World War II, the new Yugoslav communist, governed, the powers to be, had arrested him and condemned him to death. Has been sentenced to death. That was the official, jurisprudential court verdict. Without the parole board, which we have the right while in the U.S., right?
Yes, and it's interesting
to the parole board.
And it's interesting to point out because no U.S. airmen were allowed to participate in Draza's trial.
No U.S. citizens.
Pilots that were shot down in Yugoslavia.
Oh yeah, because they were simply banned from. They were not allowed because due to the political reasons, right? Because the communist government just simply rejected that opportunity to be. So has been sentenced to death for the collaboration and the war crimes in order to get officially killed in July 17, 1946 at a secret location. Navodno je Sava Bosnić, otac mog velikog prijatelja Johna Bosnića, bio poslednji čovjek koji je video Dražu živog. Mada to je delimično tačno, on je već u tom periodu se spremao da ide u Kanadu, ode da se skloni da ga ne bi ubili, naravno takozvani komunisti, ali zapravo poslednji čovjek koji je video Dražu živog je bio Krcun, Slobodan Penezić Krcun. To je značajna ličnost Krcun, to je engleska liga, engleska obaveštajna linija. He was a British intelligence service member. Kao i svi su, Sela Udba i Dolanci, svi živi. Kasnije čak i Dobrica Ćosić, to je sve engleska linija, pa čak i ovi akademici ili akademici koje ja znam ili koje sam znao danas ili to nedavno, su svi engleska liga, što nije tako ni loše na kraju. Lepa je to zemlja engleska.
Also, so the guy who was at the trial was your friend's cousin, not how to say.
Well, yeah. Pa da, on je bio doveden posle tog mučnog suđenja. Ti znaš da je njemu bio Miloš Minić, to je rođak moje žene, njemu je on bio tužilac, a ima koga je branio i tako dalje. Nije to sad važno, ali uglavnom on je bio osuđen i trebalo je da ga u stvari odvedu na tajnu lokaciju ispod Avala i tamo da ga ubiju. I jedan je trebao da ga zakolje, pa je njemu Krcun obećao da će ga on zaklati. I ovaj se spremao i oštrio nož bonsekom, međutim on njemu kaže, Krcun, eto vidiš, ipak smo vas uhvatili. Ipak si ti osuđen, a ne ja. Ipak smo mi komunisti pobedili. A on onako vezanih ruku na leđima, pljune Krcuna. I ovaj izgubi kontrolu nad sobom i saspe ceo šaržer u njega. He just fired the entire cartridge into his body. So, i onda ovaj koji treba da ga zakolje upao u depresiju. Zbog toga što ga on nije zaklao. I posle su mu ocekli glavu posthumno, pa je ta glava odnesena na Frušku goru i zakopana u jednoj metal box, kao lunchbox. I taj, samo što nije bilo lunchbox, nego običan box. I tu je bila sve do 92. godine. I posle su oni to obišli, taj koji je bio tu, pošto je Krcun kasnije poginuo u saobraćajnoj nesreći. On je bio ubijen zapravo to je kasnije UDBA namestila, pošto ti znaš da je Tito nameštao ubistva svi onih koje je trebalo eliminisati u međuvremenu, pa postoji Leku, Rankovića i tako dalje, sve ih je Tito pobio, manje više. Što kaže, nisam ih ja ubio, sami su se ubili. I tako da kasnije je ta glava do 2008. godine bila tamo na Fruškoj gori, pa su je odneli i bacili u topionu u Smederevo. I tamo su je istopili 2008. tu glavu u lobanju Draže. Tako da je Dražina lobanja nedavno relativno istopljena u topioni u Smederevo. I nemoj da me pitaš kako to znam. Molim?
Svi ne znaju gde je Draži grob. No one knows where Draza's burial.
Ne znaju zato što je sakriven, ali za glavu sam ti rekao pozitivnu informaciju i to će svi obaveštajci u Americi znati da ti potvrde da je to tako. A i u Srbiji gde hoćeš, u Engleskoj. Dobro. After, of course, has been murdered. So the higher court in Belgrade has just accepted the request for his rehabilitation in May 2015. So he just announced the annihilation, the denial of the official verdict, the official judge's verdict, which has been brought 69 years later. A moj prijatelj Milan Mladenović, to nije muzičar Milan Mladenović iz EKV-a, nego isto se zove kao on Milan Mladenović, pesnik, filozof i lingvista, takozvani Milan, moj veliki prijatelj i njegova žena Jermenka, ja njih pozdravljam ovom prilikom, a i moja supruga i ja smo prijatelji njihovi. I jako se poštujem. On je napisao knjigu o Draži Mihajloviću, poslati ti tu knjigu ako hoćeš, a mislim da ćeš je naći i ti. Zove se Ponovno suđenje Draži, seću se tačno. Okay, so it was the US President Harry Truman. Harry Truman, onaj koji je slao jaja u Jugoslaviju, takozvana Trumanova jaja, onaj koji je bacio the guy who just launched the atomic bombs, Enola Gay and the Fat Boy. Sorry? Yeah.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki, yeah.
On Hiroshima and Nagasaki, on which occasion those were the Orthodox Japanese who were destroyed there. As you know, he was the person who has posthumously awarded Draza and gave him the Legion for the merit of the first grade, and it was March 29, 1948, as an acknowledgement and as an admission for, I quote, many American aviators, the members of the Air Forces have been saved and rescued and turned back
less than 1 minute
safely and turned back to safety. So end of the quote. So in the
1 minute left.
Yeah, in the official declaration regarding the the announcement of the Medal of Honor, Harry Truman has just announced and stated that General Mihailovic and his forces, in spite of the insufficient energetic supplies with the ammunition and nutrition, struggling in fighting and maintaining the combat under the extraordinary hardship and difficult environmental